suitable?
Very good question. So this is a very big question, in fact, but we have to answer it almost every day. If you look at the immigration department requirement on the book, theoretically you can pick whatever business that you like. But if you want to cap your investment at 500,000 and look at what's left on the market, the simple answers are retail and hospitality. These are the most common one. But then an inherent setback is that the owner really has to be hands-on to keep the shop running. A new concern is vulnerability against incidents like COVID, lockdown, travel restriction. Larger businesses and some niche businesses can have stronger resilience, but even so, the migrant will look for those that are not too specialized, for those that without prior industry experience. So the compromise option could be smaller wholesaler and manufacturers, especially those that serve more generalized or light industrial markets. So that's my.
Do I have to manage the business personally? I mean, for daily life,
yeah, that's
in
right.
business.
Yeah, that's also the very second good concern there. So, well, it's really depend on how you define management. So let's say the bar we own. So lastly, so I have to look after the accounts and marketing myself, and my business partner take care of the partly the functions and party bookings and personally. So we work together to make big decisions, but we don't wait on the serve the tables. We don't do bartending, and we don't take shift and things like that. Our venue manager, handle all the floor stuff. So if this level of involvement is fine with you, then you should suffice to prove that you are actively managing the business. This is what the immigration department will look for. If you take a back seat and leave everything entirely to the manager, I'm afraid that things are not likely to work this way. So not only migration-wise, and again, if you cap your budget at 500,000, noting that the money is not entirely into the business, you are still in small businesses, regardless of industry, where pragmatically the owner-operator is needed in most cases.
Can I buy or invest in any part of the business, or need to fully invest in the whole business?
Yes, yes, of course, yeah. But a lot of people misunderstood this approach and thought that the investor can just put down the money and leave everything and walk away from the existing shareholder until they get the permanent residence. But essentially, a silent investor is against the immigration requirement. It is also extremely risky if you have to have no power, no position to intervene when things go south or with the business or there's conflict between the shareholders. The proper way is to clearly define your rights, entitlements, and the responsibility as a managing shareholder. Make sure they align with your migration requirement and can always be lawful enforced. And you can still negotiate for profit sharing and exit arrangement, but regardless, even in equity investment scenario, you will have to involve in management. Technically, not necessarily on the ground level though. It's just something that you're overseeing, make big decisions with your business partners.
How can I walk away from the business after migration?
Yes. If you had an exit strategy agreed with your shareholders, it will be much easier. So otherwise, you'll be just like every other business seller. You have to either sell the business, give it at least 6 to 8 months to sell, or wait for the lease to run out and close the business down. So this is actually something that you should have planned for before buying or investing in a business. But people often miss to have it done properly. The worst case scenario is you buy a shop-based business and tie down to a long lease. You don't want to get your hands dirty, but it is inherently the only way to keep the shop running. So the business struggles, and hopefully, and you still manage to get your migration done, but you can't walk away because the lease is still going on there. So you can't sell the business either because of after all these years struggling, the business already loses its resale value. Eventually, you probably spend a lot of money to keep the shop alive until the lease run out. So the conclusion of that is, yes, you can, just got to plan it early. So the better way is you plan it even before you buy into this business. That's how.
When should I start
Yeah.
looking for business?
Yeah. So imagine that, let's say you landed on a foreign country, okay, and we wouldn't recommend you to start looking straight away. You would need some time to settle down, so get to know the things in the new environment, da da da. So you will be exposed to a lot of information, some right, some may not be, and you would need the time to digest and find out what is truly useful for you. Some of the migration agents were only up to the provisional visa, so you need to engage a local agency to involve in your next stage. Some people will then go to you and let you start picking up from dozens of businesses. Well, I think you would rather take your time, sit down with your family and advisor and think about your overall strategy from the high level and how much your budget would you allocate to the business, how much time are you ready to commit or capable of running the business personally, or depending on your answer, then compare buying the business outright or when become a managing shareholders. So would you have any specific target of prior industry experience? Is there any particular arrangement that you need? For example, a longer transition plan, rehiring to replace the seller, some arrangement like profit sharing, exit option, and etc. So only when you have a clear picture and are confident that all your needs are realistically and your goals are attainable, you may start looking for the business that tick the boxes. So don't rush, and we are always there, can have a chat.
Can the business surface migration requirements?
Yeah. The answer is the requirement on the book are actually quite lenient. So 300,000 turnover only, given that you are required to invest 500,000. So precisely the question is whether the business is fairly priced. So due diligence and the trial in some cases are addressing the concern about financial integrity, whether or not the financial are genuine and verifiable. The greater purpose is to anticipate how confident it is that the business will be able to carry on the financial performance as far as your migration progresses, say in the next 3 to 4 years. So we talk a lot about management involvement, but financial underpin whatever managerial structure or model that you will take. So if the business is able to generate enough cash flow month in, month out, you can have the buffer to pick up or change around or to make some mistakes and many things that right back again. So management involvement is on one hand a requirement after all, on the other hand is inherently needed in small business to keep the business running up its normal capacity over the long term. So to answer your question, yes, yeah.
Okay, great. The last question is, what is the hardest part in the investment program, business-wise?
Yeah. Well, I think the key moving part is management involvement, because financial are rather black and white. So it's either verifiable or genuine or not. But the management involvements are two things. So one, the migrant, they don't want to be there every day, 60 hours, 80 hours a week, and look after every single detail personally. And so they don't have much of experience. Secondly, every business operates differently. So in different countries, even most severe differences. Technically, they don't necessarily have the experience and resources to run the show. So what they need, they can be a long-standing manager, an experienced team, a business partner, or an established system, a proven process, and things like that. So they can follow that's been established and let the business run at least over a short period of time, 6 months I would say at least, until they feel ready to take all over their own way and even change it around. So there has been an issue that the businesses in retails and hospitality, where the migrant used to like a lot before COVID, often less managed. On top of the management, the owner is essentially taking a full-time shift and hands-on a lot of details and floor works. They were exhausted. But we see more of them are looking at a bigger opportunity now. So for example, like wholesaler and manufacturer, so if you minus retails and hospitality, so wholesaler and manufacturer, for example, because although most are still largely owner-operated, they have the scale to develop, accommodate, and implement a stronger management model that would better suit the migrants. Allow them to gradually take over management and do not have to be there every day. Yeah.